we're very pleased with our class. Very proud, really. And I think everybody that loves Michigan is going to be proud to call these youngsters their own.
If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. We don't have any mics here today, so we'll have to, on the right here, John Borton.
Coach, can you talk about how difficult a task it is to come in this late in the recruiting process and then try and go out and get guys to come in?
It wasn't difficult. It was a real joy. It was a real pleasure. Just the things that I learned about some of the players that were already committed under Coach Hoke and his regime, and they did a tremendous job. Talking about some of those guys. Andrew Paul David. And his confirmation name is John, if you were wondering. Andrew, Paul, John, David. We pretty much got the gospel covered right there. Grew up a Michigan fan, great love of Michigan. Tyree Cannell, somebody who was handed a Michigan football at birth, was committed here. Also John Runyon Jr. I was told he wore a Michigan onesie when he was a year old. But the people have a love and passion for Michigan football. Grant Perry's another who recently committed here and signed today. I grew up with Mark's dad, and as you know, Mark is been a record-setting receiver in the state of Michigan, over 13 records. But he grew up like me, Grant, in the shadow of Michigan Stadium, getting autographs from football players and from basketball players. Dad was a coach. Mark was telling me that he'd bring Grant to practice, and as a 7-year-old, he always found a way to get a helmet, be running routes, and doing amazing things, catching the football at every practice that he went to. And, a winner. And that's what I'm really excited about in this class, those two things. People, a lot of youngsters that have a real deep desire to be at Michigan and have won. And in Grant's case, he's won at everything he's ever done, going back to Little League baseball, basketball, and football, including 3 state championships at Brother Rice, along with Alec Malzone, who's also in our class. Did I tell you, Andrew, David was a really good shortstop? That's a baseball player, too.
Front left here, Nick.
A couple of these TV spots that you said you had some rust when it came to this. What does that mean when you say that? Like, get back acclimated with the computer again? How did that process go?
Somebody asked me a question. Did I just go right into it and pick up where I left off? Back when I coached at Stanford, no, I didn't. I picked up 2 days after an NFL season and had to familiarize yourself with who the players are. High school coaches again. Hadn't spent the whole fall evaluating tape, but been coaching the San Francisco 49ers. So it took some time.
Over on your left here, Coach Dan.
Obviously, a different circumstance for you this year, but has much changed about the process of recruiting in the 5 years since you've done it?
There's some things, maybe some small things that have changed, but I don't think the process has changed at all. And the great thing about being able to go recruiting, because you go north, you go south, you go east, you go west, and you meet families that they care about family, they have a love for family, they have faith, good, genuine people, and what they want is what's best for their son in this process. Parents that want to see their son have the best of a chance and the best opportunity that they could possibly have. And that hasn't changed a bit. And that's what this process is materially.
You stay on the left, Coach Steve.
Jim, could you tell us about Alex Malzone and Zach Gentry, the two quarterbacks you brought in this class, both what you've seen of them on film and in person?
Yeah. I'll start with Alex. As I said, another example of somebody who has been a winner. Everything he does, he wins. And excellent thrower of the football. He's got a real savvy in the pocket. I think his accuracy is outstanding. He jumps out on tape, where he's able to scan the field, go from a receiver to a secondary receiver, and move his feet. And then the last thing I would say is that he's been here. He's been here for 3 weeks, so we've been around him since week one when the students came back to school. He does not seem like a freshman. He's got an older soul to him, but he is fit right in. He's been very serious about football. I like that about him. He's been serious about school, and it's been really good. Zach Gentry, very similar kind of demeanor. Zach is also very talented. He's very fast. He's got some real physical attributes that not every quarterback has. And he is somebody that works extremely hard at the game, especially in the off season, and on his technique, on his throwing. And, excited about both Alex and Zach. And the two things, comment to them with everybody in this class that has really been fantastic to see is a desire to compete in the classroom and on the football field. And I really like those guys, those kind of people the most, that compete in both those areas to the highest level.
Front here, Mark.
When you looked at the process, obviously you came in late, so you had to go after some guys who were committed to other schools. Is that different than the way you approached it at Stanford, or is that just the necessity of the situation, or is that kind of something you've always done?
No, I mean, there was recommendations. There was we watched tape and we call people and see if they were interested, and we're trying to build a recruiting base, and that's kind of the way the pickle scored it this year. I don't see that happening going forward.
You don't have necessarily a philosophy on that, whether to go after committed guys as a rule, or?
No, we don't. And philosophy? I have a hard time spelling philosophy, let alone saying that I have a philosophy on this.
On the front right, Adam.
Jim, could you, right here, Jim, could you talk about some of those late pushes? Obviously, it's been mentioned that you didn't have a lot of time, but what were those past couple of days like, making the late push for Higdon and Grant Perry and those guys?
Yeah, really good. And you make a call and you ask somebody if they're interested in talking about Michigan. And certainly if somebody says no, then it's no. But if it's yes, then I want to show them Michigan. Karan Higdon, great example of, there was time enough to make a decision, and it was about a week that he flew up here for an official visit and didn't make it on the first day. He didn't make it through security, and then but came back the next morning and caught a 5:20 flight to come up to Ann Arbor, and that was the night we had the 5, 6, 7 inches of snow, and had to get up 2 in the morning. That spoke volumes to me that he got up here, and he was here for 1 day on an official visit. And now he's a Wolverine, and he is an excellent example of somebody that competes at the highest level in the classroom and on the football field. Wants to go to medical school in Michigan. Found this interesting stat. Sends the most undergraduate students to medical schools of any university in the country.
How do you gauge that?
do you gauge the toughness of a player you're recruiting?
Well, there's several ways to gauge that. I mean, there's how do you gauge somebody's toughness? I mean, what's their contact courage look like? Back that'll lower their pants, going through a hole, a defender that can't wait to get from point A to point B and go hit somebody. There's Keith Washington, who I'd just like to talk about for a little bit. One of my very favorite players in this class from Prattville, Alabama. Now he hurt his MCL the first round of the playoffs and took his team to the state championship. He is a very, very humble person, but a winner. Another theme, I think, with this entire recruiting class that we have. And he went to Prattville only 1 year, but when he showed up, he told him that he was going to take him to the state championship, and he did just that. And on an MCL, they hurt the first round of the playoffs. He's a quarterback in high school and played corner in high school, but he's going to concentrate at corner when he comes to the University of Michigan. So those are just a few of the ways you can tell toughness on a football field.
Front left here, Dan.
There's a lot of NFL experience on your staff. Is that a disadvantage this year in trying to get started, or more of an advantage in being able to sell that?
I thought our staff did a tremendous job and worked very hard. Worked very hard to get UMGs, called graduates, what we were looking for. And guys that are serious about football and football is important too. And I thought we did a tremendous job with that, and most of the credit does go to the staff on that.
Was NFL experience something they could use to try to attract those UM graduates that you guys were looking for?
No, yeah, I think it does. I mean, when you put together staff, you're looking for great teachers first of all, men that are high character and that understand their specific area of expertise in football. And I think it does help that there's been NFL experience in our coach's background, because a lot of these youngsters, that's one of their goals, to make it to the National Football League, and we don't discourage that. In fact, we try to teach it.
Can you talk about how you kind of found Nolan and Keith kind of late in the process, and what makes them just as appealing as 5 stars, even though the fans might not always recognize that?
Where we when we first took the job, we were waiting during the dead period and basically in a 3-point stance. Couldn't wait to hit the road, but in that time we were watching tape and going through lists and Nolan, we popped in his tape and watched it and really liked it and kept watching it and liked it a lot more and more and then called him and asked if he was interested in coming to Michigan, and he was. With Keith, that was, I'm going to have to take a little bit of a deep, long bow here because I'm kind of Keith's recruiting coach, area coach, position coach. I just really liked watching him play on tape right away. And then when I went down and visited him, along with Coach DJ Durkin, we were there with his father, Big Keith. He's got a great mother, Candace, as well. But the 4 of us are sitting there, Big Keith, and Coach Durkin and I, and talking to him. I asked him how fast he was, and he said, "I'm a 4.3 coach." And come on, 4.3. Nobody's a 4.3. Everybody thinks they're a 4.3. I'll go out in the parking lot and run it for you right now. And he was serious, dead serious.